I am more than convinced at this point that any musical score bearing the vocal touch of Diana van Giersbergen is going to be both beautiful and transfixing once it has the honor of gracing our ears. And so far, the 2015 EP debut Fire and Ashes has proven to be that. Now, we've waded in delicately, having humored at this point way in the past as I'm filming this, though it doesn't look that way based on the publication window here. The first three numbers, which were all originalist new XANDRIA pieces at the time, we have now taken our first step into the cover field. Not entirely, because earlier in our journey we did experience the more recent retelling of My Curse Is My Redemption from their most recent album, The Wonder Still Awaiting. That was the 80s Summers remix, which is also quite a delightful ditty. But we're going back in anticipation of that to an earlier time, in a different era of XANDRIA, as I organize it according to the leading and quite beautifully articulate metal matriarchs that have occupied the vocal space over different periods of XANDRIA's tenure. And we've waded into, I think, every step now at this point, rightly, with the original voice, Lisa Middelhoff, at least a good batch of them, maybe with some names I'm forgetting about, but at least in our time together, going in order: Lisa Middelhoff, Manuela Kreller, where I've largely started our journey, Diana van Giersbergen, of course, and in present day, Amber Voorhees, where I entered the XANDRIA world, and I've loved every step since. Some of you might remember my journey if you've humored our rides in a mutual steady, which, as I've always said, music is best enjoyed in company. Respect given to any artist I welcome here, namely of a metal concentration with some outliers from time to time, but XANDRIA has been a beautiful name to entertain, and whether you come to this being a long-time fan that advances me, I know specific circumstances will apply to a number of you, or if you happen to be a new discoverer to their work and this is your first tale of witness with them, I would recommend for yourself digging back in our history, perhaps mutually, or if you want to experience those numbers for yourself, I'll leave a determination up to you, but their back catalog is absolutely worth it. And you will get a tasting for a beautiful symphonic metal voice of German origin, and you know the European Metal Library, I speak of it fondly, as it deserves to be spoken of. And XANDRIA at one point was a fresh study for me, and maybe, as I said, for some of you that will be the case. You will like the ride for yourself. And if you're a metal fan like me and you prefer classical tones, with some modernized twists from time to time and plenty of variation, XANDRIA is a very welcome name within the symphonic metal sphere. Any era that we've welcomed. And I'm well aware with the XANDRIA fan base that everybody has their favorites. I've got a foothold in each, and I've quite liked the differentiated voices and differentiated vocal capabilities of everybody that's come into our graces, and that we've elaborated on as well in other discoveries. But I won't deny that Diana van Giersbergen has become quite a favorite. In large part, she's gotten her own journey, in fact, as it evolves here with time. Like some of the other members will as well, I'm sure. I have to maybe go through the other names. Yes, fully. I've done so for a few, and will evolve like we have with Diana as well, but this is a fun lady to witness the graces of vocally. Speaking of her talents, a Dutch-based spinto-soprano classically trained singer with beautiful, not only melodic, but operatic capabilities. The woman is just... she's a vision. And you'll hear that for yourself if this is a first witness to her work. And as I say, with XANDRIA, dig back into the earlier catalog. Certainly Sacrificium on to A Theater of Dimensions when she was a part of the group. You will thank me if you've not yet experienced their work for yourself. Or maybe you have, collaboratively, and if so, this is another step in our time together, which is always fun. I love this space. Music is one of the best art forms out there, and to experience it with you is even better, especially on fresh lens. Or maybe with some informed perspective going in. As of now and forever, that is the case, because I have taken the time, as I do of any cover that we examine here, a little bit differently from this orientation. Usually I will humor works that came in anticipation, if I don't know it already, for myself behind the scenes, and then we'll walk in where I can be informed then to articulate on, because covers are always interesting to study, right? To see the comparisons of the contrasts and the quite wild variations that can be employed from different artists in different respects to techniques of where they want to take a number. To keep it equal in reverence, but to explore around and experiment with the key, tone, nature, even genre foothold, vocal choices. There's so much atmosphere what the cover field allows for employment. And with REAVENHEART, we did see some slight variation, namely vocally, even though Lisa's got a beautiful voice, but it did fit, I think, to speak of it faithfully in respect to the original work, which we humored together, again, as I said, a bit different. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to go back just even lightly into even earlier days, pre-Manuela Kreller, and we humored REAVENHEART together in its original condition, where present-day XANDRIA is more widely known for a symphonic metal voice. I would say that's more gothic, gothic rock, metal, pop rock centric. An interesting tone, but a lighter voice, but still delicate, ethereal, fantasy-like. And with Lisa's vocals, it was quite a beautiful voice. To then adapt that, though, in the 2015 window to match XANDRIA's style as of more recent days, and bring in Diana van Giersbergen. Different accent and beautiful vocal flair all the same. Quite a complimentary performance where each piece stands out in its own right, but differentiated and equally capable. Beautiful piece to listen to. It's a great cover, very faithful. But with the slight variation, I'm curious to hear where Now and Forever goes, which is, as I acknowledged before, a descendant piece post that earlier album of the same name. This is coming off of India, a 2005 debut. This was track 2 in the lineup. And this one is more superficially pop. It has a rock foundation, a more assertive beat, but it definitely has a pop edge. So with Diana coming in, because she's more than equipped on the classical symphonic metal lines. And if you experience REAVENHEART, or you have experienced it, I should say, for a number of you, you'll hear the turn that it takes as a piece where it takes more of a classical veneer rather than a more explicit pop. There's sort of an enhancement on the rock and metal direction into a symphonic tiptoe. So where will Now and Forever go? Will it maintain its pop voice or depart? Let's see. Or maybe be a harmony between two worlds. Either way, it's the next step in our XANDRIA journey, which is a fun ride. I cannot wait to continue down with you, even more so than I foretold you we're going. There's been some slight variation in a greater expansion, as XANDRIA deserves, but this is getting fun. And to experience some experimentation beyond what we have already. It's quite a new shade to XANDRIA, as I said of the Fire and Ashes EP, totally, at least of 4 going on 5 numbers that will have humored together to this point, of an upcoming total of 7 fully realized. I'm seeing, I did wonder at one point, as I acknowledged, if these pieces, especially the originals, could have been interwoven into a later album, and I see why they were separated. They do carry with it a certain independence, and I'm seeing the same phenomenon take shape with these covers. And I'm sure we'll continue to see that with the next couple pieces we're going to be humoring as well alongside one another, but here we go with Now and Forever. Let's see how it follows suit after REAVENHEART. Okay, that's much deeper in the symphonic metal range. But it is a splice. The synths are a bit of a greater prominence here. There might be a background layer added in too. She's just, oh man. I love that tail flutter. It's altered. And it's great. More explicit pop in the original creation. This is definitely more symphonic skewed. Stronger bass work, more emphasized percussion. Enhancement on that chorus, though, it's most deliberate there. I love the teases that Diana's like, I can reach higher. If you know her work, you know she can, but Lisa did keep this one reined into a more middle territory, at least the note scale. It's much more mellow on board. See? Quicksand, I love it. I love this twist. To credit Diana fairly, especially in respect to the journeys they've taken so far, she can do pop well alongside classical. A theater dimensions was witness to this. We saw the same shades take shape that Fire and Ashes, I guess, paved to. It's a better way to put it. There was an obvious foretelling. I love the added layers on the vocals, too. I don't remember there being a choir on the first one. I might have that wrong. But there's an appreciable depth to Diana's voice here with other layers coming in. It sounds like more voices than just her, at least to me. But what embodies the choir, considering that alongside as well different agents that are greater enhancement, bass work, percussion, this is a much stronger piece on voice that definitely more explicitly caters to a symphonic metal edge versus the more deliberate pop tone, as I said, that the first version takes. As good as it is, they're two very different voices. And for those of us who have a first prioritized love to symphonic metal, though we might welcome pop, skewed music as well, again, now and forever according to the India generation of it, or the version, it's still quite an adept listen, and Lisa's vocals are very well tailored to where that score went, and XANDRIA's voice at the time, because of their symphonic turn. There's a different edge that seems mandated, or welcomed, endorsed, and now and forever creatively reinvents what already was established well on foundation into that symphonic world, and Diana is more than well equipped for that. Again, I've said with XANDRIA, her membership of the group, though, times change, life evolves, that's a journey for all of us, right? And XANDRIA's been through so many different generations of equal capability, right? Even still in the present day, I love them just as much, but I think we can all agree that this was a real golden era of the group, as I've been saying, because Diana's involvement just real spark in these works that you just can't miss. And maybe you happen to be growing in your appreciation to opera. I remember where I was years ago. Opera, this is much more explicitly on the melodic edge for her, but you can see the little hints of where we could go, and if you know her, you're like, okay, I can see you jumping to that point at any moment with the octave. I love that little sneak. I think it's in the bridge section. It's still worked in. And I love whenever it comes up. And, as I know now, and what's in preparation for later adventures down our journey with not just XANDRIA, but what in part envisioned this, and that was a Diana von Giersbergen artist spotlight, as I've been calling it. If you know other works of hers, and you've witnessed those pieces, you know how far she can go, and you know how much of a talent she is. So to hear her voice, even with the melodic register, in a mellower territory, particularly mandated and fittingly well articulated and expounded on, this still allows for little segments of growth, right? To return to what we love with Diana. What's welcomed us before, at least in XANDRIA's history, with consideration to Fire and Ashes, but came before, the Sacrificium album. That was just so good. Oh, Deceivo's traits flutter right in. The little tails on the, I think it begins with the "Now your voice is singing them all" on that verse line. It might have been on "You" as well, on the previous line, "Your wings at mine, we will never fall." Just the way the word transitions and binds you into evolution with the chorus. And then where you discover for yourself the point of contrast, the most evident one, I think, embodied in that chorus, the much stronger voice on instrumental scoring. Deeper, more precise. Well, I don't want to say that, because again, each version caters to a different chic, and this one, again, if you know symphonic metal and you know what's more so available on the aggressive side of traits, and again, I've said with symphonic metal there's quite a versatility. There's ballad pieces, there's harder, more metal-esque pieces of what would be stereotypically imagined by even non-metal listeners, what they think of in terms of just basically heavy bombastic performances. Again, symphonic metal has a wide field of why I love it so much, because those classical tones they're not in any way rescinded. You still feel like you're in the presence of a symphony with a bit of a modern intentional twist. And I hear that with Now and Forever on Reinvention's face, and it's great. I really like this one. And I love the pop edge, but I love symphonic metal. And to hear Diana employ her beautiful vocals between melodic and teasing operatic drifts. Which is great. I love her. I love XANDRIA. It's best, of course, to enjoy them alongside all of you. Whether, as I said, you are a first-time discoverer of their work or a well-informed listener, even beyond myself, and you've heard of this piece, I'm sure, for years, or it's been a frequent replay, I would imagine. I don't want to speak for you, but I'll leave your disclosures of your own experiences with this one, your thoughts on the fire, and now and forever, in its reinvented form. If you wish to discuss it, of course, and declare your perspectives, feel free to do so down below, and we can host a conversation of our mutual enjoyments to a very proficient symphonic metal voice. Of the European Library, you can't go wrong there, and XANDRIA has not let me down yet in any stage of our journeys together. And we will complete Fire and Ashes imminently. 2 more pieces to go of covers, similarly, of different respects, and I really can't wait to jump into the next one. And we'll see how that sounds like. Again, I think anything Deanna touches with her vocal capabilities, it just blooms automatically. And these covers have teased something special, I think, for us to evolve on now with something new a bit in XANDRIA's respect. Covers of other artists. We haven't gone there yet. And I think that'll be a fun journey, much like these were. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.